We were sitting there, and I turned to Emma. I'm like, man, these old guys got some game. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look at them. And she's like, baby, they're prostitutes. And I was like, hey, yeah, that makes more sense.
Trekking heavier, traveling light. There's one thing that's right wherever I go. That's where I am.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the This Week in Zoltan podcast. I am Zoltan. And this is a podcast that I used to do in my living room in front of some plants. And now we're here in a full-on studio in Manhattan, doing it right, sipping coffee, jacked to the gills. And I got a guest. We're not doing it by myself anymore. This week, I got my first real guest of the podcast, Chris Millhouse. I've known this guy ever since I started doing comedy. 2006. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Good to be here. Thanks for having me. I love that I'm your first guest. The bar's when they set real low for you.
Well, it
can't get any worse than this.
We're doing Obama next week.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, that's naturally where you go. Yeah. They're like, Chris Millhouse to Barack Obama.
Dude, you've been, you're kind of all over. We met in San Diego.
Yeah, I started down there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I never knew where you lived, whether New York or LA, because you bounce back and forth so much.
People ask me all the time.
You are living the dream, that bi-coastal kind of dream where you're like, I don't know where that guy lives. I don't know if he has a house. I don't know if he's just Airbnb bouncing back and forth, living like a Instagram star. What do you live here?
I live in New York City. I am in LA a lot because my parents still live in Southern California. They live in Orange County. So I go back, to see them, and then also to do shows in LA and stuff like that. So it makes it easier when your family's there.
Yeah.
That's why I try to go back more often than not, I guess. But yeah, I live in New York. Love it here, man. Been here. Wow.
That's your preference, New York.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, weather-wise, not so much, but I prefer the rats and the piss to 90-degree weather every day. Apparently.
I mean, I'm new to the city, but I prefer the honesty of the city instead of that fake sunshine and all that. No, give me some piss and I took 2 subway trains to get up here.
Oh, look at you.
Nobody stabbed me. I didn't get shoved in front of the tracks. I didn't witness anything crazy. Every time I get somewhere, it feels like we made it.
Yeah.
I never had that feeling in Southern California. It was just like, I'm sitting in traffic, and once I get there, I get there. But there's this sense of death and danger to get to my destination. It makes me feel alive.
Yeah, New York's that place where you'll stand there on the corner of the street, waiting on the light or whatever, and you're just you look up and you're like, oh, this is so great. I live here. And then all of a sudden, a whiff of just the most disgusting thing you've ever smelled in your life will just punch you right in the face. And you're like, I can taste it. I can taste shit from that fucking, from that that waft of air that came out of the sewer drains.
I'm no scientist, but I do believe that when you smell it and taste it, those are the particles of turds that are wafting in the air.
And that's basically New York City for you. We can't have nice things, you're sitting there and you're like, oh, this is great. It's a beautiful city. Best city in the world. Oh, God, somebody fucking kill me.
Well, it's when we had the smoke from Canada. And the city was ruined, and everyone put masks on for a day or two, which was wild because we were wearing them in the streets and we took them off when we were heading into a building.
Yeah,
Such an inverse of the pandemic. But the crazy part was after it, all these articles came out and it was like, hey, just so you know, the air isn't that clean regularly.
Yeah.
And the air, I read 3 articles where the air in the subway is only 50% better than what we were breathing in during the smoke days. And I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, my favorite was it's death and mayhem. The smoke was so thick. And then there's still people walking around I don't need a mask. I don't need a mask. It's not even that bad. It's the same guy who wears shorts in the middle of winter. Nah, this isn't cold, bro. It isn't cold.
That's why God gave us nose hairs to block out these particles.
Toughen it up.
Smoke. Yeah, I tried.
Fucking pussies with masks on. Ugh.
Dude, I tried to walk down the street and pick up Thai food that day, and I forgot the mask because it was just that day.
Yeah.
And a block into it, my eyes are watering. I'm coughing.
I didn't even leave my apartment.
And they said another thing that they didn't do a good job of. They said that if you're outside for an hour in that type of smoke, it's like smoking 6 cigarettes. And I'm like, I don't smoke cigarettes, but that's not that bad. I thought they meant 6 packs.
That's what I thought they said. 6
no,
packs.
No, they meant 6
cigarettes.
Individual cigarettes. And it's well, for someone who doesn't smoke, is that bad?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, that Tuesday, I went to a show. And I remember I was walking around outside. A lot of times I go for walks during the day. I was walking around outside and I was like, yeah, I feel like it's going to rain. It felt weird. Like, it wasn't bad. Like, it was maybe a little something wrong with the air, but it wasn't bad. And then that was like at like, I don't know, like 3 or 4, something like that. Then I go inside my apartment, take a shower, change, go back out to go to my show. And it was like, oh, like what is burning? Like, I had no idea that was a thing that was coming in. And then after the show that night, I remember seeing it getting worse and worse. After the show that night, I was walking back from the subway. My subway train got just stalled out. They were like, hey, everybody get off the train because somebody killed themselves or something before.
It wasn't smoke related.
No, it was just
regular
weird,
New York related.
Because they force you off the train, then I had to walk.
Right.
So because I was like, dude, there's no other trains at the station. So I had to walk back up to the street and then find another train. But I'm like, as I'm walking, I'm like, this is not feeling healthy. Like, my throat was like really fucked up, and I'm like, something's wrong here. And then the next day, like, was that like 2 or 3 p.m. in the afternoon? It got pitch black out of nowhere. It was like this like weird like orange yellow type of like my whole apartment got real dark, and I was like, what the fuck?
And it was different because I live, Southern California. We're used to that. We're used to fire days. And I remember like but it felt worse here because I remember in high school, I had a high school football coach that still wanted us to practice
during those fires,
during the smoke-filled days outside. And enough parents complained that he's like, all right, I guess your kids don't have what it takes. And they don't have what it takes to win state. Yeah. And then he let us go home. But it was just a different
I remember living through those San Diego wildfires back in the day that were real bad, like the ones that were like burned down Scripps Ranch down in San Diego. And that was weird. It was people like, it made me give like flashbacks during our smoke monster here, is that I had a flashback because if you remember this back in the day, that like walking down the street, it was like walking in snow, but you're walking in ash. Mm-hmm. So you see all the footprints everywhere from all these, because there was so much ash. Yeah. And they just kept saying like, hey, if you don't have to be outside, don't do it.
Don't do it.
They didn't even recommend masks back in the day. They're like,
just don't be outside. I mean, if you are, you are. Yeah. But
just don't inhale too much, please.
Quick statistic: a normal day in New York City without anything else going on is the equivalent of about smoking 1 cigarette a day.
Wow.
Being outside, yeah.
Yeah, greatest city in the world. Greatest city in the world.
We just found out that non-smokers in New York are a little bit cooler now. Because we do at least smoke 1 cigarette a day, just after.
Hey, man.
Just after coitus.
Coitus? Did you say coitus?
I said coitus.
Oh, my God.
I'm a Big Lebowski fan. Coitus?
Yeah.
But I remember in San Diego.
I should punch him for being a nerd.
Well, I'll throw out some weird words, man. I'll throw out, haberdashery.
Oh, boy.
In leave. San Diego, I was working at a retirement home, 03, and there was the big wildfires up in North County, and I remember I had to take the city bus into work.
I think that's the ones I was talking about.
03 was the big one.
Yeah.
And I had to take the bus into Escondido, kind of San Pasqual area, was where the retirement home was.
Yeah.
And I'm on this bus, and there's a fire on the left, fire on the right, and the biggest one was ahead of us, and I noticed the bus is heading towards that one. I was like, oh no. And the fire seemed right next to the retirement home, to the point where I'm like, why haven't we evacuated? And we had the fire department next door, and they were like constantly in contact. And they're like, don't worry, we'll let you know when you need to go. And it's like, do you realize there's like 200 extremely slow elderly people?
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time.
It's going to take a minute to get people loaded. And my mom worked there. I have a tiny Hungarian mother, and it was just me and her serving. Everyone else called out sick. Oh. So me and her serving 200 people by ourselves. And I'm all nervous. I'm 15. I'm like, what about the fire? Blah, 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 the fire. Whatever. And then my mom, finally frustrated, she cuts me off. She goes, Zoli, if the fire gets close, we leave. We're not helping anybody. Because I was afraid she would want to.
Your mom is a fucking savage.
She is, dude. She just went, they lived a full life. I'm not. If it gets close, we get in the RAV4. We're out.
Is this like fucking Rocky? Like, if they die, they die.
Yeah, dude. She full Ivan Drago.
He dies.
Look, they're going to die with a full belly, and there's a fire department. They're in charge of saving people, not us. We're wearing aprons.
Listen, they're pissing themselves anyway, so that will help. It keeps the fire away.
Keeps the smoke down.
I don't know if that's what your mom sounds like, but I just didn't.
A little bit.
I could.
I like to just throw a bunch of... She's actually a lot nicer than I make her out to be, but the things that she says are pretty harsh and mean, but she says them with a smile, which is like a hint of creepy too.
Yeah, that is a little bit creepy. That's serial killery.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of Europeans are kind of like that, like...
We're cold people. If you think about it, people that grew up in Europe have lived through every major war, for the most part.
And they've raised their kids as if they like it happened, like that's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
So like each generation lives as if they've been through war.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously some are still going through it out there, but you know, jeez.
My grandparents lived through 2 world wars. So, and then they raised my mom, who shockingly turned out nicer than she should have been for being raised by 2 World War, not veterans. They didn't fight in it, but they were around.
Survivors.
Yeah, survivors. Yeah, it just builds you kind of cold.
Yeah.
You know?
But I remember that I was actually, that fire we were talking about, I was working in San Diego in radio.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they evacuated the whole radio station except for like 2 people. And I was like, am I one of the people? And they were like, no, get out. I'm like, thank God.
Man, how low on the totem pole do you have to be to where they're like, you don't get to go home?
Well, I think it was just like the final, like an engineer and like
just to get information out to the people?
I guess, and like somebody from the news station that was
Yeah.
like, that had to be there. And because I worked at Clear Channel, which owned at the time 12 radio stations in San Diego, later ruled a monopoly. That they were
that's
like
right.
just dominating like all the San Diego airwaves, and then they were forced to sell like 4 of them. But like at the time, I just remember like sitting in the studio, I'm like trying to report to people. Like I was on Rock 105.3 at the time on that's weekend,
Right.
and I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I said, hey, getting a little smoky out there. I'm gonna die. Because it was the fires were coming near where the station was,
Right.
and so like you know they finally evacuated, and I was like, well, this is weird, and then.
But it's also
You know,
like
I
most...
had to pre-record. The weirdest thing is I had to pre-record the rest of my show.
Oh.
So then I'm like,
So you're talking about it like fires aren't happening.
I just had to pretend like, hey, here's the new one from Metallica. Like,
Just
the
pretend
world is burning, just like Metallica. Ready? And they're on fire.
Here's them with fuel.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like any natural disaster where the people that grow up around it don't freak out about it. Like every time I go to like Oklahoma or something, I talk about tornadoes. All the people, I'm like, what do you guys do during a tornado? And they're like, we go outside and watch it, which is a horrible accent, but it's pretty much what they say.
It is.
And
It's pretty dead on though.
It's terrifying to me. But in California, like people are used to fires. People don't want to evacuate. Like I remember the first fire, my mom made us sleep in the minivan. And the fire was like way up there. And she's like, she packed the minivan.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case. And I slept in the front seat. We had parakeets and cages in the back. We had like all sorts of blankets and paperwork and social security cards. And the fire never came close enough to us. And then, but every year after that, she's been way more laxed. And she was like, we're fine.
I had to evacuate my uncle's house for him because him and his family were at Disney.
Oh.
And so there I called him. I was like, the fire is literally in your neighborhood. And I was like, I don't know what you want to do, but they've already ordered you to be evacuated, even though you're not there. However, if your house burns down, are you like, is there something that you want me to go and save? And it's nothing weirder and more like, I don't know, shitty than like having to grab like valuables from your family and save it. Like, and not really like jewelry so much. It was just more like paperwork and like pictures, you know, like stuff that you like, if it gets lost, it's lost because it's like old picture, you know, like we don't have digital copies from back in the day. And you know,
that's really nice of you. That wouldn't have crossed my mind. I would have been like,
I just was like, what am I doing? Like I have to do something. Like
that's very kind of you. I would have been like, oh, you're going to get a clean clean slate, get a new house, fill it up with some new crap.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
turned
go
on their
well.
sprinklers. I was like, that'll help. That'll do it. That's going to save it.
Every wildfire in California will have at least one news shot of some doofus in his backyard with 50-foot flames and a garden hose. Yeah. He doesn't even have a nozzle on it. He's got his thumb over the hole, and he's like, I got it, dude.
Yeah.
I have
He's
homeowners.
got a super soaker. He's like, you don't come at me. I learned.
And then afterwards, he's like being interviewed with no eyebrows. And he's like, I got, I
I don't know what happened.
It's like, dude, leave.
I had it, man. I had it. It was so close.
Leave. Get the hell out of there. But
Anyway, yeah.
you and I travel a decent amount. We were actually in the same town. We were in Seattle. We didn't have a chance
Couple
to
weeks
meet
ago.
up
Yeah,
because
Seattle.
it was
Shout
just
out Seattle.
far enough away. I'm a big fan of Seattle. This was your first time there?
First time there. It's all right for me. Like, I mean, look, the crowds were good, but overall, like, I just feel like the pandemic really fucked it up pretty bad, and it's still struggling to get back.
Were you there before the pandemic?
No.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm just
No,
from
it
what I
was like
heard
that
from a lot of
before.
people told me like that it wasn't as bad as it is now. It was bad from what I heard prior. especially with the homeless problem and all that and the drug problems. But like, it seems even worse now. Like the cops just don't want to get involved. They
Yeah.
just sit on the corner to make sure the tourists don't get attacked.
Yes.
Like that's their whole job. You can smoke a whole lot of crack.
Yeah, out
right
in
in
the
front of
open.
the cops, and they're just like, cool, just don't touch the tourists.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what I've been going to Seattle since 2013, and that's the Seattle I know. So maybe it's even gotten worse since then, but like I used to work the Comedy
Yeah.
Underground in Pioneer Square, and they used to put me up in this little condo, and I'd open the window and they'd look down at the alley one floor below. There's just a circle of people smoking crack.
Jeez.
And that's how I'd start the day.
Yeah.
And I actually, on the other side...
With a little bit of crack.
With a little bit
Yeah.
of crack. Hey, it's
You're
a
like,
good
hey, waft
pick-me-up.
it up here.
You think cold brew gets you going?
Yeah.
Try to hit a crack. All right, you will be out there. You will be done with your
Some good
errands.
morning crack.
But there was actually a...
I feel like this is an SNL skit waiting to happen. Start your morning with crack.
get rid of that pesky custody of children with a little bit of crack. There was
Hate your problems. Smoke some crack. You'll never remember.
I remember the condo they put you up in. There was a drug dealer across the alley in the other building.
Yeah.
And there was a window I couldn't fully close, so all night you would hear someone come into the alley and go, Maurice, and then you'd hear someone from one of the windows goes, yeah, what you want? And they're like, you know what I want? And then like a drug deal would happen over and over again, like all throughout the night. And then at 3 a.m, another
It'd be funny if he was just like selling flowers.
yeah, through the
Those
alley.
petunias.
And someone came in at like 3 a.m. and went, Maurice. And he's like, I be asleep. And then nobody came and bothered him the rest of the night. It's like the word spread that Maurice has called it for the evening. It's 3:30 and we got to get some sleep. So he was like, it was a very interesting, it felt good. That's what comedy gets you. Because I remember the week before I was working the MGM Grand at Brad Garrett's club, and they put you in this super nice hotel.
Yeah, it's nice over there.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And then the next weekend, I'm in like a flop house in Pioneer Square.
Oh, yeah.
Across the alley from Maurice.
That's what comedy is, man. We are such abused children for this fucking art form that we do. Like people will be like, you want to do like a crack house basement with like 6 people, none of which know comedy's about to happen. Are you cool with that? We'll give you 2 drink tickets. And you're like, yeah, we got to get these jokes out, man. And we do it. And then we go and we do nice rooms like Brad Garrett's Comedy Club in Vegas. And you're like, Is this what it's like?
Is this what it's supposed to be?
Is this what nice things are?
Doing comedy, doing stand-up is like having an absentee father, where like the weekends he doesn't show up, your stepdad takes you out to something really crappy. But the weekends he does show up, he really tries to make up for the other weeks.
Yes,
and that's
yes.
when you end up working the nice club with the nice hotel room.
Great
And you're- and
analogy, yeah.
And then, but the other weeks you're hanging out with Hank.
Yeah.
And he's dating your mom and he doesn't love you, but your mom pestered him to taking you to Chuck E. Cheese, and you're trying to have the best time you
He'll
can.
give you $5 to play video games so he can rail your mom out in the back room.
Is that what was going on?
Yeah, probably.
Damn it! I thought they were watching TV.
Dude, in Seattle, by the way, not
Yeah.
to cut you off, but like we went out to go have some drinks afterwards, and it's one of the local comedians who used to live here in New York. I forget his name, but anyway, and we had a photographer named Mike who was with us, and so the 3 of us go to this bar that's like an English pub that's attached to the hotel, and we're at the bar. And we go to play pool. There's a little pool table there. And there's this like woman who's like younger, like I'd say like 20s, early 30s, maybe tops, with a really old dude at the bar. And I'm like, oh, like that's definitely, you've seen enough prostitutes in your time where you're like, that's definitely a situation. And then, and she keeps on staring at me across the bar. Like she's like, and then she followed me down to where the pool tables were. And she's like, oh, you guys look like you're having fun. Can I hang out with you guys? And it was like, yeah. And let me just say this. Lovely woman, but it's one of the most disgusting looking people I've ever seen. Like she looked like she had been in a fire. Like it was.
No! Wow!
Yeah, I was like, yeah. I mean, look, very nice person, but at least I think. And
Lord.
so then she's like trying to hang out with us, and like and then she's like, "Can I play pool with you guys?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." You tell us some grand stories about like your whoredom, and like because she told us, she was like, "Yeah, I am a whore. Like I am a prostitute." Like she said,
Like
whore.
she had business cards.
She was like, basically, she was like,
Wow.
"Oh, I work work the strip club down the street, and I also like, I'm for hire for whatever you want. And like, we're like, cool, but like, we don't want that. So we're just like hanging out. And then, she's like going on and on about all these stories. And then she was like, hey, is it cool if like you guys like walk me to the front of the building where I get an Uber? And we're like, yeah, sure. So we like walk her, and then she was like, oh, this guy's staring at me creepy. Can we I wait in your lobby? And I was like, yeah, all right. And then she goes, can I go up to your room and call this Uber? And I was like, absolutely not. You cannot. And she was just like, oh, that's weird. And I was like, no, it's not. Like I said, you can just stay here in the lobby and call your Uber. And she was like, oh, and then she looked at the other guy. She's like, can I go up to your room and call the Uber? And we're like, all of us were like, no.
What a weird.
Yeah,
that's like a friend that won't go home.
It was some. I don't even know. She might not have had a place to go.
I think that's more what it is.
Or B, she was just going to try to rob one of us. Like that type of situation. So it was very sketchy. But I'll show you the picture later. But we actually took a picture with all of us together because we thought it was hilarious.
She thought you guys were friends at that point.
Yeah,
she's like,
she thought
let me crash
all
on the
BFFs.
couch.
She was like, I'm gonna get some money out of one of these motherfuckers.
Wow.
But yeah, no,
you're not as naive as I am, because I remember Emma and I went to Thailand last November, and we went into a bar, and this entire bar was old men hanging out with young Thai women. And
what you thought were Thai women.
Well, yeah. But I just remember we were sitting there, and I turned to Emma. I'm like, man, these old guys got some game. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look at them. And she's like, baby, they're prostitutes. And I was like, hey, yeah, that makes more sense. Because it was just like a bar.
Make your money go far here.
Yeah, like I imagine what a sex worker type bar would look like.
And that's it.
And that wasn't it.
No, really?
It was a nice, it was like an Irish pub in the middle of Bangkok. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Everyone's just hanging out, having fun. And then I was like, oh. And then slowly it comes in,
Yeah, that was my Seattle trip. That was it. I was only there for one night, and then we stayed all day the next day to just do touristy shit. I went to Space Needle, and then went to actually it was really cool, the Pop Culture Museum, which was awesome. And there was so many exhibits from really cool bands and rock stars and rappers and all this stuff. They had obviously a whole Nirvana exhibit because it's Seattle. So that was a really cool exhibit, to be honest, because it had you just don't find, this is a weird fact, but you just don't find stuff from Nirvana. They only really existed for 2 to 3 years from their height until he killed himself. And they took a long break in that time from touring. So to get stuff instruments from them is really hard to come by. So they had a few things, but I'm sure that's the majority of the Nirvana collection was in that exhibit at the Pop Culture Museum. But they had a couple broken guitars.
That's so cool.
Kurt used to smash them, things like that. That was worth it for me to stay longer all day Sunday just to see that stuff. And they had the whole Pop Culture Museum. It was really cool. They had a sci-fi exhibit. They have a horror exhibit. They had all the rock star stuff, all the guitars from famous people, bass, drum sets. They had a ton of video game exhibits and stuff too. So it was cool. I'm a museum guy too, so that's right up my alley. But I was actually just thinking of Nirvana and how they're thought of, and you're like, man, if I wish Kurt Cobain was still around, but the fact that it ended the way it did and as early as it did, I think it adds to the aura of him and the band. Oh yeah,
because there is this fear in my head of all my favorite artists that did die young. If they lived long enough, would they be Kid Rock hating Bud Light?
Yeah, probably.
How disappointing would that be to be Nirvana?
Not my shitty beer. Not my shitty beer.
How? Because you think about that, you're like, who would it be? Where would Tupac
Come
stand
As
on
You
Bud
Are
Light?
would be a whole right wing thing.
They're playing it as Trump comes to the.
Come As You Are. It
makes you wonder.
All the left were like, no, come as you are, and all the right, they're like, no, switch it.
I don't know.
But I just feel if there's, I feel like Family Guy or somebody made fun of this, where they were if Kurt Cobain survived and he just started playing shitty alt music,
everyone ages.
Everyone ages, everybody changes. A lot of these rock stars.
If anybody had a chance to stay cool the longest, it would have been him.
Oh, I think we could have gotten at least one, if not two more really good Nirvana albums out of them. At least one more.
Absolutely.
But before the decline, even with Foo Fighters, which I like. I like the Foo Fighters a lot. They're a great live act.
Right.
They kill it on stage, but their last 3 records have been such a decline. Like they just released one. It was the worst. Like I couldn't, I was like this, and I like the Foo Fighters. Like I really like do, I'm a big fan of them, but I'm like, is this what would have happened if Kurt was around? Like
That's me and Metallica.
yeah.
Like
Their newest one was okay.
I like it, but
yeah.
I'm also too much of a diehard fan
Yeah.
to where I even liked Saint Anger, but I couldn't like Lulu, which was this horrible album they put out with Lou Reed, and it's unlistenable.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather listen to, I don't know, name a horrible band. I'd rather listen to their entire album
Yeah.
than
Like
have to listen to Lulu.
Red Hot
And I'm
Chili
a
Peppers,
diehard
man.
fan.
Like they released one like during the pandemic. I want to say like 2020, 2021, something
Black
like that.
Summer?
I don't know, but they released 2. They
yeah.
followed it up so quickly because the one they
the
released
second
was
one.
horrifically bad. It was
The
like
first one or the second one?
the first one. The second
You
one
didn't like the first one?
No, I thought it was the worst piece of shit I've ever heard in my life. I was like, this
liked
is what
Black
happens
Summer.
when you retire and you're just like
60.
yeah, and they're like, let's go back to doing work now. And then it was
You know those guys that start bands in their 60s?
Yes.
And then the highest they get to is playing at a wedding?
Yes. That's how it
That's
felt.
where the Chili Peppers
Yes.
are at. That's where
Dude,
Metallica's
they had
at.
a song about sitting in traffic, and that was the whole lyrics were like, sitting in some traffic. Like, and you're like,
Maybe I didn't listen to that whole record.
yeah, it was.
I think I
it
missed
was-
the sitting in
Maybe
traffic
I
song.
listened to some weird shit, but like,
Wow.
I was like, I can't believe this is the hook. It's just about sitting in traffic, and I was like,
Everybody
that's
ages.
what I mean. That's what rich people problems are. Like,
Yeah.
they literally were like, man, what's the worst thing about life for me? A multi-millionaire. I guess when I have to sit in traffic in LA.
It's the same with Metallica. Like,
Yeah.
I love the lyrics, but at times I feel like James Hetfield is digging to, like, how can I sound not like I'm trying to sound 20, but still use cool words about doom and death and depression and hell and fire and brimstone.
Yeah.
But be 60, but be as cool as I was. And it's just hard.
Yeah.
It's hard because you can't imagine a 60-year-old just talking about doom and gloom in that metal sense, you know? It's more, it comes off cranky. Just cranky metal.
You know what I think is a lot of times with, like, whether it's a rapper or a rock star or whatever, when a band or an artist gets so big, they have people around them that are afraid to tell them no.
Yeah.
They have a lot of people that just say,
Well
oh, like,
beyond music.
yeah, no, that's great, man. I mean, like, who's gonna tell Metallica that their songs stink?
No.
And you can't, like, because you're just like, you were happy to have the work. If you're the producer, you want to be producing the next Metallica record.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna give like a little bit of input, but you're not gonna like overstep and be like, dude, guys, this is trash. Like, you can't, like,
The worst thing that could ever happen, I'll take it a step beyond music, just fame,
Yeah.
is have a bunch of people on payroll around you.
Yeah,
Because they'll never tell you the truth.
They'll
Be
never
like,
tell you, yeah.
paint your hair blue.
Yeah.
Don't go to therapy. Everything's fine. Everything's okay.
Yeah.
And because they're still cashing the checks. And,
course,
and they're like,
of course,
they're not going to tell you
yeah.
the truth. I had a friend of mine whose friend was rich, and they had a $400 therapist. And I'm like, that's not telling you the truth. You know who tells you the truth? A $100 therapist that doesn't need you to show up next week.
Yeah.
A $400 therapist is going to tell you enough to come back again next week, maybe twice the week next.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get a good $90 to $100 therapist. Anything above that, they're gonna lie to you. They're gonna lie to you.
Instead of yes men, you need no men around you. You need people that are like
honest
you
friends.
know, like,
I went to my buddy's bachelor party this weekend, and it was a bunch of people
like,
that
honestly, please don't fuck the strippers.
we were in Parker, Arizona, so there was nobody. It was just a bunch of guys hanging out and a bunch of like people that it was a bunch of people. Everyone else in
Not that
Parker.
there's anything wrong with that, you know. I mean, if you're into it, just jerk each other off.
Look, I'm not. You know what happens in Parker. Anyway, the residents of Parker,
Only gave
Arizona.
you swallow. Anyway,
They all look like they raided the Capitol. That's who the residents of Parker, Arizona are. Which
sounds about right. I lived in Arizona for a long time.
Yeah. Maybe you'll relate to this, but in California, I used to say there's two political parties in California. There's people that go to the beach and people that go to the river. And it's not even a conservative liberal thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a hard line of I don't know, sensitivities or demeanors, but there's a hard line where you can look at someone and go, that person goes to the river. Like, you know, you can tell. And we went out there, and it was such a weird mix because now we're in our late 30s, early 40s, like my friend group, and half of us, there's 9 of us there, half of us did all the drugs, and other half that I was a part of were just sipping White Claws for 2 days. And we were just looking at the drug guys like, dude, you're gonna have a heart attack, and don't you want to go jet skiing? And they're like, let's just stay here and do all the and it was like a
jet ski. Let's do it all at once. All now.
We ended up renting jet skis for like $1,100. We rented all these jet skis, barely used them.
Oh,
it was like a
what a
90s
fucking
drug
waste.
commercial where they're like, don't do drugs, you'll become lame and sit on the couch. And then that's what they did. And then we're like, don't you want to go get sunburns? And we just looked lame as hell. But it was a good mix. Like one of the friends in the group I didn't know him personally, but my buddy did. And he's just like a San Diego bro with the tattoos everywhere. And on the long drive out there, we were talking about work and stress and life. And he just said, money isn't everything. That's what I've learned, even though I have the opposite tattooed on my leg. Money is everything.
He had money is everything.
Tattooed on his leg in cursive. And then he came to the realization, maybe in that car ride, that he's like, money really isn't everything.
Well, at least he didn't get it tattooed above his ass, like that.
What a fit
Money is everything. And you're like, what were you doing here?
The rent's due on the 1st.
Yeah.
But it's, where are you at? Are you like falling into, because you're around my age, maybe a little bit older.
Yeah, early 40s.
Yeah, early 40s. So like, are you still drinking, going hard, or are you like, man, it's 8:00 and bed sounds good?
I don't know, man. Like I'm a little mixture of both. Like I drink like a couple days a week, and like if I drink, I usually drink, and then it gets harder and harder to get up the next day. Like as you're getting older, you're like, these hangovers are debilitating as you get older, and you just can't party as much. So like I pull it back. Usually during the week, I don't drink at all. Usually like it's like Monday through Friday, pretty good. Saturday, maybe Sunday, I'll do like a Sunday fun day type thing where you just drink during the day, and then Saturday
cocaine.
night, Monday, like that's how you get over the hangovers. Coke on Monday, you got cocaine Mondays, you got crack Tuesdays. And then heroin Wednesdays because you need a nice come down to like mellow you out, But dude, I can't drink as much as I used to, and it's funny because like I was at a family function this past weekend, and like my family's Irish, like Irish,
drinking Irish.
Like second generation, like
drinking.
So they just kept on asking me like if I'm okay because I didn't drink. And I was like,
you were depressed.
They were
drinking.
like, "Are you all right? Like, what's going on with you? Like, do you have health problems? Are you on like do you have some sort of STD that you can't drink because you're on fucking like?" I was like, "Yeah, I wish I was that cool.
I'm on antibiotics, Ma, for the clap.
Exactly.
I can't.
Yeah, I love the woman that was unclean. I'm sorry, Grandma. But yeah,
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so like I remember the amount of times I kept getting offered alcohol. I was like, well,
And secretly they're talking behind your back.
Oh,
like,
probably they were like, I don't know if he's all right. Like, is he?
I think
I'm like,
he's
have you
down.
seen a therapist?
We should take him to church.
I just also like, I just can't. I didn't want to drink that hard this weekend. We had to do. I went there for like a christening. I'm the godfather of my cousin's son.
Yeah.
And so like I had to I was like, I'm not gonna be hungover in a church at 8 a.m. Like dropping your kid in the water. Like
Catholic Church, man. You're the only one that wasn't.
I know, pretty much,
dude.
Like this,
they go hard,
bro. When they bring out the communion wine, and you could see who's hungover because the hands are shaking and they're not old. They're just like they got the vodka shakes for the next day, literally pounding down like wine.
the cold sweats in that humid church air.
Well, it's funny because this church, like, they served it in like I've never seen this before because I don't go to church anymore. But like, they had the communion wine in little shot glasses. Yeah. And I've never seen that. It's always been in a whatever they call it,
chalice.
Chalice, yes.
Yeah.
And so like you saw this, I saw this older lady take multiple. She was like, and like just throwing back shots, and then the priest was like, okay, all right, like
they
topping her, like, yeah, they did, because she was like, boom, boom, and then I saw a kid go up there and take one, and I was like, whoa, like that kid's like 8, and then they're like, oh no, they also have grape juice up there, and I was like, I'm like, I don't think the old lady had grape juice. The kid obviously did, but like it was
depending
weird.
on who the pastor is, that might not have been grape juice either for the kid.
Maybe. But I don't know. Like I can't. Like also, if I know I have to get up early the next day, like
I can't do it.
I'm just not an early morning person. Like I
don't have it.
I've never been a morning person my entire life. I've always been cranky ever since I was like a kid. I've never been the morning person, and so like I have a whole bit about it in my stand up. But like I It's true. Like if I have a 6 a.m. flight or 7 a.m. flight, I don't go to sleep the night before because I can't. My brain won't shut off.
Right.
Because it just knows that like, oh, I can't function off of 2-3 hours of sleep or whatever. So I end up like usually trying to sleep on the plane or when I get there.
Sleep on a plane doesn't count.
No,
I keep telling my wife that.
Doesn't really work.
I'll fly back from somewhere and it's like a 6-hour flight.
Yeah.
And she's like, did you sleep on the flight? And I'm like, yeah, I slept like half of it. She's like, that's like 3 hours. I'm like, that sleep doesn't count.
No, it doesn't really.
You're never fully asleep.
No, you're always
Your
like in and
neck's
out.
hurt. Yeah, you're in and out.
Yeah.
You're sitting up. If you can sleep comfortably sitting up, you're a psycho. You're a serial killer. You're a horrible person. You have no heart. You don't love puppies. There's all sorts of things wrong with you.
You're also like hunched over like a dead body, and then like the plane moves, and you're like, and like your neck falls down. You're like, what? Like
it's fake sleep. And
I can't do it. I slept on I did the overnight from Seattle.
Red eye.
Yeah, the red eye, and but I had my whole row to myself, so I laid down on it, but it still couldn't really sleep. Like I was still like very much like my brain was still awake, but my body was asleep. It was weird. Like I don't know how to explain that, but like I was all cracked out. Is what I was trying to tell you.
Well, you live and learn in Seattle, but I remember because I'm not much of a drinker at all. I'm like a one cocktail guy, and I get there pretty good, but. My buddy, because of the fentanyl crisis.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, man, you guys are going to buy cocaine and do that? Like, what about the... He's like, don't worry, I bought fentanyl testing strips on Amazon. But he didn't know how to work it. So he bought... There's a pile of it, and he just threw a testing stick into the pile. And...
What if it says yes? You got to get the thing out of it.
Yeah.
How are you going to get the thing out of it?
My buddy his other friend was like, what do you do now? And he goes, I don't really know. He's like... Didn't you read the instructions? He's like, I think I threw them away.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, what are you waiting for?
Also,
like, are you waiting for the stick to explode? Or are you waiting for it to turn red?
Yeah.
Like, don't do it. Like, what are you waiting? And then they're like, yeah, I guess it doesn't work. And then someone with the guy with the money
tattoo.
isn't everything tattoos, like, I'll give it a shot. And then apparently he doesn't have a lot to live for. And so he gave it a run. And he didn't die, and so the other two partook. And
like,
meanwhile,
let's have a tester guy.
Yeah, we had a tester guy. And you know what? If there is a tester guy, it should be the guy.
It should be the guy that says money is
money is everything, but now believes the opposite.
Yeah.
He's just a flowing contradiction. He went and tried it for the group. What a hero. And then me and the other half of the group that wasn't partaking in any of that or sipping on White Claws, and just looking at him going, they're almost 40, dude. Like they look at me the way like a doctor would look at us for having like a double cheeseburger in our 40s. You're like, and fries? You're gonna do that? You're gonna clog up your entire heart.
Yeah, let's go. Like now you're speaking my language. Now that's me. Like maybe I should start doing coke.
You know what it was? Everyone that weekend went into their vices. Like those guys went into drugs.
Yeah, you noticed that with
dove
bachelor
into
parties.
Food. Like we ordered, me and the other guys were like food addicts, so we just like were crushing brisket. We ordered Domino's. And there's only 2 toilets, so we just like had to argue over these toilets. The people doing the drugs didn't eat at all.
Yeah,
and it was everyone just dove into their vices, and I guess my vice is food. I guess.
Yeah, you notice that like with bachelor parties, you see your buddy's true colors come out a lot.
It was a lot of. I did notice this because most of my friends don't have kids, but the ones that did, that weekend meant a lot to them.
Oh, it does, because they got to get away. They want to they don't let loose. Like my cousin, he's like my brother. We're real close. Like he lives in the middle of the woods in New Hampshire, and that's the one who I went to the christening for or whatever. And
how stoked was he?
Well, he was mad because I didn't drink. I'm always the guy that drinks with him, and nobody else was really drinking. And he was like, he thought we were going to stay through Sunday into Monday.
Right.
But like everybody had to work on Monday, and also just like get me out of the woods, dude. Like it's a long drive. I had no other way of getting in and out of where they live in New Hampshire. Like they're in the
It was just
woods.
A total letdown.
So I was like, yeah, just
this was his Super Bowl.
And that's the thing is like when his brother got married this last year, we had a bachelor party. And he would have sworn he was the one getting married.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, he was like going nuts. He's like, who's doing shots? Who's doing shots? We're doing shots. And he just started like
it
lining
meant
up
the
shots.
world to him. And I just read today that we're the oldest America's ever been. The median age is almost 39. And no one's having kids. Like very few people are having kids. And you know what? The reason no one's having kids is you people that have kids, every time you get away from them, you treat it like the Super Bowl, and it scares the crap out of the rest of us. The
true.
rest of us are afraid to have children
We're like-
because you desperately need time away from them every time we see you.
Yeah, you're like,
And-
I'm worried about you. I'm worried
Yeah.
about all of you.
Yeah, I've seen people smoke crack in Seattle with less stress in their
Yeah.
eyes.
You're like, hey, at least
than
they just
a
go, at least I
parent-
don't have kids.
Yeah, and then a parent having a weekend away.
Yeah.
Like, man, you ever see a parent with a weekend away? It makes you want to have a full-on vasectomy.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I never want to have that much joy to be away from my house that much.
Yeah.
You know, like I had a great time at the bachelor party. Got to hang out with my buds. We
Yeah.
caught up on everything. It was
Good.
cool.
Nice.
But after about like halfway into the second day, I'm like, I could be home right now. This
Oh, yeah.
Like this trip doesn't mean as much to me as it does to the people whose lives suck at home because they have a bunch of kids.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Sorry, Vance. I'm talking about you.
It's always funny too, like if you do like a Vegas trip with like your friends, especially at this age, it's such a different ball game than it was when you were in your early 20s. Like you and I both used to live in San Diego,
Yeah,
and, like
it's
LA.
a 5-hour
and
drive.
You just hop over, like you take a flight for like, 45 minutes.
$50, yeah, for Spirit
nothing.
Airlines,
Yeah,
yeah.
Spirit Airlines, the Southwest flight is less than $100. And you go and you know, your friends are, partying all night. Like you walk out of the club, you're like, oh, it's daylight. What the fuck? And
Yeah.
then fast forward to when you're like late 30s, early 40s. Like everyone's in bed by 11, maybe midnight,
over.
and then like
And it's so
they're debilitated
unfair.
for the whole fucking trip. After
And
that
they
one.
want to go home.
Yeah, or
and the worst
one
part
of your friends still goes missing because you're like, I don't know what happened. It's like your version of The Hangover, really.
Yeah.
You know, like
And it's so unfair because early 20s, you have no money.
Yeah.
You're staying at the Stratosphere for $30
with
a
like
night.
10 people in one room.
With 10 people in one room, you ask for 2 rollaway cots. They say you can only have 1.
Yeah.
Someone has to sleep on the floor. That floor is gross.
Someone's in the bathtub.
Yeah. And you guys, every place you go, you're like, do you have drink discounts? Can I get a wristband where you can just chug boot?
Yeah.
Like, I remember
if I
once,
bring in randoms from the casino, some girls, like, can we get in for free? Like, can we do a 2-for-1? We used to do that. They would be like, because they'd say, if you bring girls in, we'll let you all in for free, or we'll like 2-for-1 type of deal. So we would walk around the casino and ask random women, like, hey, I can get us in for free. And they're like, every woman that goes to Vegas knows that they can get in for free. They all
Already.
know. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, all
I
they
don't
have to
need
do
to
is
go in with
walk
you.
up to the
Yeah.
front, and they're like, I'm not going to wait in line. I'm a woman. Like, and so, like,
that's, yeah.
yeah, so we'd walk around. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, okay," and we would tell them like, "We'll buy you a drink when you get inside." And then you think about it, you're like, that's the same price as it was to get
There was
to pay to get in. And you're like,
And they don't kick you out. I remember I got
No.
the wristband once. I was 21, and I kept dropping drinks. I dropped like 3 or 4
my
drinks,
God.
glass everywhere.
Yeah, they didn't
and with
care.
each one, I'm like, that's it. And
Yeah.
they're booting me.
Not in
Not only
Vegas.
did they
Not
clean
in
it
Vegas.
up, they gave me another drink.
Yeah.
Like one time, I dropped it in front of a lady in a wheelchair. Like I was like, this is like going against the ADA, like the 1977 American Disabilities Act. Like she's got to go over glass now. And they're just like, oh, here's your drink. And I'm like, please stop serving.
"Yeah, stop! I need to be
Please.
cut off."
Yeah, like what is wrong with you people?
I once left a nightclub. My friends were all in there, still partying. We had just really gotten there. I was trash, and before we even went in, because we were all taking shots. And then we took more when we got in there, and I way overdid it. I just couldn't drink at that time like I can now, which is sad. And so I remember I left because I was like, I didn't know where the bathroom was, but I knew there was one outside of the club, like
Yeah.
in the casino area. So I found that, and I passed out after throwing up in the bathroom, so much so that I was out for like an hour or two, and the cleaning crew called security because they found me. And they were like, oh, like, sir. And then like, they woke me up. And I was like, what? I was like, no, I'm just taking a shit. And they were like, your whole body was on the floor. I was like, yeah, I'm shitting.
That's how I do it. I do it vertically, and I with my clothes on.
And security was like, it's okay. He's like, yeah, like, can I get you anything? I'm like, yeah, another whiskey ginger ale. And they were like, okay.
And they gave it to
They
you?
let me go back to the bar. And I was like, this is that's a cry for help. If you find my lifeless body next to a fucking toilet in a casino, help me. Don't fucking enable me.
2 things we learned today. Number 1, you parents, stop looking so happy when you're away from your kids. You're scaring the rest of us off from being fathers.
Yes.
And number 2, Vegas, cut people off.
Yeah.
Cut people off or we'll stop coming back.
Stop encouraging terrible behavior.
Yeah. We saw the movies. We already came with bad intentions.
Yeah.
If we're if we're passed out in a bathroom saying we're taking a dump in our pants, like horizontally.
I'm fully clothed.
Yeah,
I'm fully
I think
clothed, and I'm yelling, I'm
horizontally is what
taking a
meant.
shit.
Yeah, like
The
cut us
cleaning crew's
off.
trying to like hose me down.
I think this podcast has been a PSA.
I think this has been more of us just like letting loose of like all the stuff that we were like holding on to. Like,
Well, that's what it's about here at This Week in Zoltan. I made that myself. Didn't point that out.
this week in the Zoltan.
Before we go, social media plugs. What's your handles?
Sure. At Chris Millhouse, 2 L's in Millhouse, like The Simpsons. Chris Millhouse, come see me. I don't know when do you release this. How?
I don't know yet. But just I'm gonna put up a few episodes, but just so people know when we are recording this, there is a submarine trapped in the ocean. Just to give you an idea of when this was recorded.
I think that they're all dead, but like because it's out of. I think by now they're all out of air. Yeah, I think they did the math on that, and they were like, ugh. By the way, how great of a social media darling is the guy who's on the submarine stepkid? Have you seen this?
My wife told me about this.
Yes.
The OnlyFans model. That
there's a bunch of shit like going on with this guy. So there's a guy on the submarine that's trapped down in the Titanic. He's a billionaire. His stepson is a nightmare. His stepson has already been arrested multiple times for threatening to kill DJs. He went to the Blink-182 concert to celebrate the fact that his stepdad is trapped in a fucking submarine, and then he was he was shooting his shot now because he's getting famous because he's such a nightmare. Everyone's figuring out who he is. He's tweeting OnlyFans models trying to fuck, and he's shooting a shot. Like, hey, good for you, buddy. Go for it. But like, also, congratulations on being a complete nightmare. Everyone knows that you're a complete nightmare. I'm gonna keep following this dude, even though his dad is probably dead, because you know that he's probably gonna inherit a lot of that money.
It's weird because, like, as a billionaire's son, couldn't you hit on OnlyFans models anyway? You don't need a tragedy.
But now he's getting the fame from this, and he was hitting on Cardi B or something, and then she was like, she goes, bro, your stepdad is lost at sea. And he was
it's
like,
a stepdad.
Yeah,
That's
stepdad.
what it is.
Yeah. And so like he's like, yeah, but
I've
like
always hated
I
Keith.
need comfort. You know, like he shot a shot at Cardi B.
Well, bless his heart.
Yeah, bless his heart, which
follow
is
Chris Millhouse
Southern
on all
for
the
shitty.
things. Go to your website. Is that where your shows are?
Yeah, website, Instagram, all that stuff. I have all the links there. So at Chris Millhouse on socials and chrismillhouse.com if you want. Yeah.
Perfect. Follow him. Go to his shows. Come to my shows. Go to my website. Love you all. Cheers. And
Thanks for having me, buddy.
thanks so much for
Appreciate it, man. Good to chat with you.
Yeah.
Catch up, old San Diego crew, you know?
Fire and mishap.
Yeah.
Goodbye,
See you
everybody.
guys.
Trekking heavy or traveling light, there's one thing that's right.